And Pete is a builder. I think Tim actually started off as a builder, and that's how he and Pete met. And he and Pete actually had another company years ago. And I'm not sure what it was called. But they sold that company probably 30 years ago. And when they sold it, they were given a 5-year non-compete. So they got out of the industry for 5 years. As soon as that non-compete ended, they then started Legend Senior Living.
Oh, okay.
And they now have, and it's based in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And they now have 37 communities between Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Florida.
Right.
And I believe we have one community in Colorado. And they are definitely in build mode. They are looking to acquire buildings. They are looking to build new buildings.
Wow, okay.
Okay. God knows when it'll happen. I'm not high enough on the food train. I mean, I can tell you that we've broken ground in Gainesville.
Okay.
And by this time next year, there will be an 11th community in the state of Florida. It probably, usually from breaking ground to completion is about 9 or 10 months. So I anticipate next spring having an opening of the 11th building in Gainesville.
Okay.
Okay.
Very neat. Okay. And you said the first part you said about Tim Buchanan doing a non-compete or something like that. What is that?
When he and Pete sold the first company, whoever they sold it to made them have a non-compete, which meant that they could not start another company for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Non-compete clauses are very popular. Sometimes when we hire an executive director, in their contract it'll say you have a non-compete clause, meaning if you leave us, you can't work for another assisted living company. It's usually for a year.
Okay.
Do we hold executive directors to that? No, we don't.
Okay.
But that is part of their contract. I don't have a contract. It's usually only for actually, and we don't call them executive directors. That's the term that's used by every other company. In Legend Senior Living, they are called residence directors. And that's because Tim does not like the expression executive director.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Very neat. Okay.
But it's the exact same thing. It is the person who is responsible for everything that goes on in the community.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. And then the location and environment. So I know the general location. I wrote down the San Pablo address and I guess environment.
Okay. So the building in San Pablo, if we're talking specifically San Pablo, I think, gosh, how many, is it 94 apartments? I honestly can't remember. But there are 15 secured apartments. There are 15 on the Reflections, which is our memory care unit.
Okay.
We refer to it as a neighborhood. So on our memory care neighborhood, there are 15 apartments. We don't refer to it as a locked unit. And basically, we refer to it as a secured unit, a secured neighborhood, and that's for legal reasons. If a resident gets out of a secured unit and the family sues a company, it's less likely that they'll get significant damages than if you call it a locked unit.
Oh, I see.
So we call it a secured neighborhood.
Very good. Very cool. Okay.
It is not, everything is done for legal reasons. It is not locked. There is a keypad entrance to it.
Oh, okay.
So you have to know the code to get in and to get out. And if you're a visitor, then you knock on the door, and one of the staff lets you in. And then when you're ready to leave, one of the staff lets you out. We do not give people who do not work in the community the code.
Right.
We do not give the family members the code. And that's because many people who live in a secured environment look quote unquote normal. They don't look. They look like they could be a visitor.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's to guard against one of the residents talking to one of the family members, making enough sense that the family member thinks that they are also a visitor, and when they go out the door, the resident goes right with them, and the next thing you know, you have a resident with dementia who's outside walking God knows where.
Oh, right.
And in assisted living, we do not refer to them as patients. We refer to them as residents. We also don't refer to the building, and this is for all assisted living companies. We never use the F word. We don't call it a facility.
Okay.
We call it a community. Facility would mean a SNF, a nursing home. Patient would mean a SNF, nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
So we call community, and we call the people who live there residents.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. So, programs and services.
Okay, so on the Yale side, there is what is it? It's an LEC. I have to think of what it's called. I mean, what the initial stand for, and I just blanked out.
Oh,
LEC.
It's probably the enriched, or what it...
Life Enrichment Coordinator.
Yes, yes.
Okay. They used to be called activities people, and all the assisted living companies kind of classed up their act. So now they're all called, it doesn't matter what company, they're all called LECs.
Okay.
Life Enrichment Coordinator. So there is a Life Enrichment Coordinator for the AL side, and then there is a Life Enrichment Coordinator for the Reflections neighborhood. And they run independent programming on AL, and if I go too fast, just tell me.
Oh, no, you're doing good.
Something, just tell me.
Okay.
I know this subject so well that I'm just kind of having verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Programming on the AL side generally starts at 10 o'clock in the morning and ends at 7 o'clock at night. On the reflection side, it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it also ends at 7 o'clock in the evening. But on the reflection side, anything you do with the resident is considered part of programming. So helping them to get dressed in the morning when they get up, that's a program.
Okay.
Programming basically starts from the minute the resident gets out of bed in the morning to the minute they go back to bed in the evening. And it's very individualized. Not only do we do group programming, we also do one-on-one programming. You know, there may be a resident that the stimulation of being in a group is too much for them.
Right.
So that resident we would take back to their apartment, and one of the aides would sit with them and read a book or do their nails or talk to them. Okay. And we do what's called validation therapy, which means we enter their world. We don't make them enter our world. So if the 80-year-old resident on Reflections is standing by the door and you ask her what she's doing, and she says, well, it's 3 o'clock, isn't it? And you say, yes. And she says, I'm waiting for the kids to come home from school. You say, you know what? The bus is running a little late. They won't be home for a few minutes. Come with me. We're going to do. And then you name something to keep them busy.
Okay.
Because if you tell them that the kids are now 65, it'll totally confuse them.
Okay.
When a person with Alzheimer's looks in the mirror, they do not see themselves. They see a 35-year-old. They can tell you everything about their wedding that happened 60 years ago, but if you ask them what they had for breakfast, a half an hour after they finish breakfast, they won't even know they had breakfast.
Wow.
They have no short-term memory. They only have long-term memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the first things that goes. What are you getting your degree in nursing?
Actually, yeah, I've got my associate's degree, and it's me and a group of 2 other nurses doing this project, but I'm just gathering the information. But we're all nurses at Baptist Hospital.
Okay.
And we're getting our bachelor's.
So are you an LPN or an RN?
An RN with my 2-year degree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So There is a book out called Still Alice. They made a movie out of it.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. Yeah.
As good as the movie is, it's garbage compared to the book.
Oh,
Buy
okay.
the book. It's $15. It's an oversized paperback. I think it's Lisa Genova is the author. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble. But when you read it with a box of Kleenex. Because one minute you will be laughing hysterically, and the next minute you will be crying like you lost your best friend. But it really explains what somebody with Alzheimer's goes through.
Right, yeah.
They first get it. This is it's a work of fiction, and it's about a 61-year-old. I believe they have her as a Harvard professor. The book is phenomenal. I gave it to my kids. I mean, my kids are twice your age, but I gave it to my kids to read. It is a phenomenal book, and as good as the movie is, the movie was garbage compared to the book. The book is so much better.
I'm definitely gonna look into that. Still Alice.
It's incredible. All right, next question.
Next question is eligibility requirements and fees.
Okay, so anybody can move into assisted living. Now, the truth is, if they're under 60, we try to, and I don't want to use the word discourage, but we try to suggest that there might be a better place for them, only because the average age in an assisted living community is mid-80s. So if somebody is 45 and wants to move into assisted living, it may be a real culture shock for them.
Right.
Because there's no commonality for them with the residents. You know, I'm 68, and I am the oldest regional person in the company. And we had a meeting with all the residence directors a couple of months ago, and they're all in their 30s and 40s. Maybe a couple of them are 50.
Right.
And I said to them, you don't understand. I am closer in age to the residents we take care of than any of you. And I understand what the residents are going through.
Right.
If the grace of God go I, you know.
Yeah.
So it's tough to move somebody who's younger in, but as long as they have money, they can move in. 99 and 9/10% of the assisted living companies in this country are private pay. So that means you either pay for it out of your pocket, you pay for it by using long-term care insurance, you pay for it with investments, you sell your house and use the proceeds from the sale of the house to pay for it, but we do not accept Medicaid and we do not accept Medicare.
Okay.
And we range in price from about $3,500 to about $6,500 a month, depending on whether you live on the AL side or you live in Reflections. Reflections is always more in every company.
Right.
And then it's what kind of apartment you have based on the size and the location. The apartments that overlook the courtyard are always more expensive. I used to have a building in Naples, and there were maybe a dozen apartments that have balconies. Those apartments were more expensive than the apartments without balconies. I was going to say something else. Shit, what was it? It'll come to me. And if you've been living with me for 5 years, paying $5,000 a month for 5 years, and then you run out of money, I essentially say to you, don't let the door hit you on your ass on the way out. Because once you run out of money, you have to move out.
Wow.
It's the one thing, it's the worst thing about the assisted living industry is that we don't take